with a big dream. Dubby brings you jitter-free, crash-free energy with zero sugar, zero calories, and zero artificial colors. Just clean, focused fuel to help you be better every day. With over 15 epic custom-made flavors and thousands of fans backing them, Dubby isn't just another energy drink. It's a movement. Ready to give it a shot? We got you. Check the episode description for an exclusive 10% off discount code just for our listeners. Fuel up with Dubby and let's get to BSing. Tonight, we have a special guest, Ulrich, Marine. He went to North Texas for a jazz degree, played tons of engagements with the Marine Corps band. He got his first Stratocaster guitar, premiered it at the Navy SEAL Foundation Transition Seminar, and played a song to honor a dearly departed brother, Talon Leach. Ulrich, I'll hand it over to you.
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate that intro, and it was literally 1 ton metric of gigs I played with the Marine Corps. Thank you. Hey, thanks a lot for the opportunity to come here and talk with you. The first thing I want to do too is I think it is still your latest episode, but the lead in front from 42 punk rock, local punk rock band. Lucas, the bass player in that band, and I don't know if he's slinging guitar on there too, but I know he can. But it's all due to him doing the shout out. So I just want to throw that right back and say, hey, Lucas, you're the man. I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much for thinking of me. And yeah, thanks a lot for entertaining the idea of sitting down and having a chat, man.
Of course, man. Anytime, dude. Like I was, whenever Lucas reached out to me, I was like, heck yeah, dude. Marine, and he's got jazz and blues that he plays. I was like, I gotta hear this.
We're trying, and I'm trying to get stuff out there more and more. I'm still in the transition of retiring out of the Marine Corps. I got some medical news coming back from this last deployment out of Iraq that I would no longer be, that I would be recommended for medical board, and the writing was kind of on the wall as soon as they submitted me for medical evaluation that I wasn't going to be able to continue. And so it's been an ongoing process here for the past about 2 years, I guess now, of getting evaluated and going through, one, doing right by everybody in my command, but also doing right by myself and getting myself medically evaluated. And in so doing, I went through a TBI clinic that we've got on Camp Lejeune. I know there's parallel efforts throughout the military because, well, wouldn't you know it, you get bonked on the head enough times, and Lord knows you do that in the military, you start to deteriorate, and one of the after effects of that deterioration is mental health decline, and so anyways, I was going through as a patient at it's called Intrepid Spirit. It's on Camp Lejeune, and they hit you with a battery of different therapies and what have you. So you get like audiovisual therapy, you get talk therapy, you get group therapy, you get exercise therapy, whatever, anything that you could possibly think of. They set us down with like headphones on and blasted colorful lights into your eyes and all manner of different things. And one of the therapies was, I'll start with, one of the therapies was creative writing. And, so my background, we can get into a little bit more later, but let's just say Marine, and that's enough really to where there's a dismissive and cavalier attitude about the creative arts, generally speaking. And so even before I wound up at the TBI clinic, a couple of good friends with the best of intentions had let me know that there was going to be some nonsensical therapy items there that, just kind of grin and bear it, because what they're really going to do for you is they're going to make sure that your medical jacket, from beginning to end is clean and you got everything documented in there. And sure enough, they did do that. So anyways, I'd received the foreknowledge that there was going to be some nonsense classes, and one of them was creative writing. And I'm sitting down there, and in walks this guy, Worth Parker. and I didn't know him from before, but he, was very, very quick to introduce himself. I'm Worth Parker. I've been there, done that. I was here when MARSOC, Marine Special Operations Command, stood up. I was plank holder. I went on combat deployments throughout Afghanistan, Iraq. Been there, done that. I wrote columns on it. I'm a published author now. I'm retired, and I'm here to introduce you guys to creative writing. You guys can take it or leave it. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Here's a column that I wrote. Launches right into it, and I'm like, okay, cool, rock and roll. Like, the guy steps in and immediately disarms any kind of defenses or any kind of dismissals that might have been in the hearts of those in my cohort. We're 6 people in the cohort, by the way. We're sitting there, and we might have had our preconceived notions about what it was going to be, and he just came in, grabbed the bull by the horns, and lo and behold, pardon me, I just had my wife's famous meatloaf. It was fantastic.
You all good, man?
But lo and behold, every member of that cohort, it was a 5-week cohort, so we're there for 5 weeks. Every member was sitting there writing, and man, there were some depths that came up, like things that I didn't think I was going to share and things I certainly didn't think the guys were going to share. And they volunteered it, man, and it was, I wouldn't say it's entirely because, but it was definitely largely because there was a guy there that had walked in our shoes and wasn't afraid to say that, but also wasn't going to rest on that and say the entirety of my identity is inside of what I did during those years, but was here to say that those were those years, and I'm happy that I have those with me. This is what I do now, and this might work for you. This might work for the next guy. I'm inviting you to give it a try. And this is a place where, if you bring something up, like, there's a good chance that we could relate, And that was fantastic. I was blown away by that approach. And I again, his name is Worth Parker, published author. He's got some, I should have done some homework and find out where he's published, but I think if you Google the guy, you'll find him. But then I walk into music therapy, and there's no Worth Parker there. And no knock on the guy, because he's exactly what he is. He's a music therapy is a liberal arts degree, right? And so he's a liberal arts degree collegiate, individual there. And there was definitely, I saw the contrast, man. I saw the contrast in my cohort, and I saw the contrast in myself too. That I'm sitting here, and instead of immediately and fully engaging, I'm doing myself a disservice by unnecessarily judging where I'm at and the guy that's sitting across from me, and so I kind of, I caught on to what was going on inside of myself pretty quick, and I caught on to what was going on in the cohort shortly thereafter, and the defenses were up and everything, and so I took it on myself to engage as much as I could, because as you received my humble bio there, I spent some time at University of North Texas. I spent some time playing with the Marine Corps band program. And I do have a background in music. I think American music, by the way, is amazing. It's absolutely incredible. I'm an immigrant to the United States. I moved here when I was 21, and became a naturalized citizen by way of the Marine Corps. And I love a lot of things America. I don't know if you can see that's the tail end of our banner there on the back, and I love it. I think American music is cool, and so I'm sitting there in that cohort and engaging in music therapy from that standpoint, from like, yeah, man, American music is cool. And when you think about it, all of these other therapies, at least most of them, from electromagnetic to like the light that I was talking about, to sound waves and whatever else, even if you think about it, massage therapy or exercise, even, you're vibrating, you're oscillating vibrations through your body. And in so doing, you're either overriding some of those vibrations that are going through your body and making you anxious or making you depressed or whatever else it is that you're struggling with, or you're either overpowering them or tuning them out or whatever it is. But you're sending vibrations through your body at a physical level, right? At a clinical physical level, you're doing that, not just from like spiritualistic hippy dippy, kind of place. And I was sitting and thinking about that as I was going through this music therapy. And then after the class was over, after those 5 weeks, I go up to Clay. He's a music therapist there for the American Endowment of the Arts, and I say, hey Clay, I just have a frank, brass tacks conversation with the guy. I say, look, I know these people, and I know that they're looking at you as an outsider, and that their defenses are going to be up and everything like that. And I just want to share with you that I went through creative writing with Worth Parker, and because he was who he was, that allowed me to engage deeply with and get something out of creative writing as a therapy. I would love the opportunity to do the same for music therapy here at Intrepid Spirit. And he was, credit where credit's due, man. The guy was all about it, and he's been all about it ever since. And I've just been blown away by how open he was to the suggestion from the get-go, all throughout. Lord knows that when I just stepped into it with good faith. I just stepped into it knowing that I don't know fully what it is I'm doing, that I felt confident that I could probably have an impact. And in the first couple of classes, he helped me put words to some of the concepts, because he's got the board certification, he's got the background, he's got the pedigree. And so as I'm talking about repeating phenomenon, he's talking about the Fibonacci sequences, and as I'm talking about like frequency therapies, he's talking about this is studied science and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, cool, this is working out, man. So that's me trailing off into where what you were talking about, playing the music, and where I'm at with that right now, and kind of and also like we were talking just a little bit before we started. That's where my excitement is in sharing that music, and sharing that idea of music across a otherwise, and generally speaking, not as receptive crowd. That's not to say that there aren't receptive guys out there, not at all. And I'm not necessarily it that's like toppling these guys over. But I'd say for myself, and what it's giving me and the opportunity to serve them, it's fantastic. That's also to my excuse for not having recorded anything yet, and for my personal engagements and my own releases and whatnot not being up yet.
Or 1 second. I just want to let our audience know, if you're trying to watch on Facebook, for some reason they have it locked where I can't share publicly tonight for some odd reason, but we are streaming to YouTube and Rumble. So you can look up BSing with Y Eagle Y and watch our live show tonight on Rumble or YouTube or Twitch. I appreciate you guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but apparently they might have not liked my last episode, getting into a little politics. But so I haven't received anything, but hopefully we can get it cleared up after this. Sorry about that, man.
Hey, no worries. Do you think that's still going on? Where like there's moderators out there determining what's allowed to get aired and what's allowed to be live or not?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I haven't had an issue until the last, like I explained to you before we went live, is I had a government employee that was, doing a little ranting about what's going on, and tonight, it's usually you can select public, or to automatically go public, but it's showing locked for me. So I don't know what Facebook's doing. I haven't received anything, and hopefully I can get that cleared up in the future. But I'll be posting, the links on Facebook. So guys, you can check it out, or you can watch it, like I said, YouTube or Rumble or Twitch.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm not. I don't think we're going to get into anything political. My current excitement is very much in that music therapy side of it, and then I've got so a good friend of mine. Let's see, where do I even start? Well, so the foundations and the nonprofits. So the one side of it is that music therapy, right? I was going through as a patient. I was getting my own medical jacket wrapped up and everything like that, and I saw an opportunity, and I dove into it, and it's been fantastic. And also, I want to say, like, I had my skepticism about whether or not this was going well. You know, I don't know if you find yourself second guessing yourself as much as I do, but you know, there's
but
constant like metrics and analytics going on and everything like, and I was kind of, you know, a little bit doubtful, but I love, like I said, I love the opportunity. This last week, or last week, the the lead therapist there, he got sick and he was about to cancel the class, and I said, hey, look, I can still make it out, and if you're okay with it, I'll just take the class. And he said yes. And like that, that's the first time that I've been in there in front of the students, or in front of the cohort, just by myself, and I think it went decent enough. I've written a couple of the questionnaires that we give to the cohort to kind of start the conversations, and so I just went through, you know, some of the curriculum that I've provided and developed, and some of the handouts that I usually bring, and it, you know, went the way that it goes, and yeah, so to me that kind of solidified that it's not just me that's thinking, no, this is going all right. Like that was a huge vote of confidence for me. I really took that as a big boost that this is going in the right direction.
he trusts you, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. That's a big ticket item, man. It really is, because having sat and earned, you know, the trust through, you know, well, earning it the way that you do coming up through the ranks. Some of it definitely is by tenure, right? Some of it's just by sitting in the same place. No, this guy's been here for 5 years. Let's go ahead and have him do it. So some of it's, you know, earned just by time, but a lot of the trust, especially in the combat arms, that's earned through competency. And now I'm going out of the Marine Corps, where all that earned trust is then, you know, not all of it's going away by any stretch of the imagination, but some of it definitely is. And to just see that, you know, there's still opportunity to grow trust, and to have a positive impact, and to be of service to some, that's really rewarding. I really appreciate that opportunity. I know I've been sitting on that for a while. But I'll also say this. One of the questions I mentioned, I come up with a questionnaire. One of the questions I ask, it's a little 4-part questionnaire. One is like, what's the earliest memory that you have of music? What's the most recent memory that you have of music? Where are you at with music today, and where would you like to go with music in the future? So like the first two are passive, right, or relatively passive, and the next two, and the first two passives are like a long time ago and up to present, and then the two active ones are present and in the future. And I ask those questions, and then I just kind of open it up. I talk about myself first, you know, like this is an example of it. I answer those questions myself, and then I throw it around the room. But those are the questions, and every single cohort, and I've done this. I'm on my 7th cohort now, 8th if you include mine, I think. I might be wrong on the numbers, but I've done a couple of these. Every single time that we talk about these questions, people bring up their family. People bring up, you know, I listened to this when I was growing up with my dad, or you know, I listened to this with my kids, or my unit and I, whenever it's time to get pumped, we do this, or whenever I'm at the gym, I like to put this on, or when I'm driving home and it's been a bad day, I'll listen to that, or whatever it is, right? But after we throw it around the room and it comes back around, I say, hey, look, I didn't ask any of you guys about your family. I didn't ask any of you guys about your friends. I didn't ask any of you guys about your emotional states or anything like that. You all offered that. I just asked about your interaction with music. And you all offered these points of connection. And so, that's been every single class, every single cohort that I've had so far. They all do the same thing. And so my conclusion off of that is like, hey, well, we can conclude in cohort together that music holds a place inside of your core memories, inside of your formation as a human being, in one way, shape, or form, or the other. And we could just take that as a point of analysis and say, well, can we be deliberate about that? Can we take this and can we harness that? Can I plug this into my children's life so that they have core formative memories? Can I shape them so that whenever that music comes back around, they can use it from a utilitarian standpoint? can I, just like I got myself and my friends ready for battle, can I get myself ready for battle? Can I get myself ready for peace? You know, like those are the kind of the launch points. They all offer up all the core and family and everything else, and then we take those as launch points into those other matters of like, hey, can we use this for utility? And that's a good spot for me to be in personally, because
Yeah.
that really makes sense. That gives me a place to serve. Also, music is incredibly gratifying for me. I know everybody's different, right? So for some people, it's painting. Some people like to take pictures. Some people like to write. Some people like math. I don't know. But for me, like, music is definitely one of those things. It's very gratifying. I get everybody's different. So I also say that, and I say that to my cohorts too, is that it might not be for you. You know, it might be that you listen during class and we talk about some concepts that later down the line, you know, your son or your daughter struggling with something, or your wife struggling with something, or your teammate struggling with something, or just another service member that you've never got a chance to work with, and you're meeting him as you're doing your transition seminar on the way out, and he's struggling with something, you know, or he's got some thoughts about something, even, you know, like you can,
Yeah.
you might have learned something, you might have retained something, you might be able to suggest something, and you don't know. I say this to my church family all the time. You don't know what answer to another person's prayer you are. You never know. All you gotta do is show up and show out, man. Like, so if you do that, there's a good chance you can be worked, and if not, there's a good chance you can't.
Yeah.
But that's yeah, sorry, that's my rant on the music therapy side. And again, fleshing out the excuse for why I don't record or do anything yet. But it's really, it's a matter of momentum. It's a matter of doing things that are meaningful and impactful for me. And I'd say too, concurrently with me being the patient at Intrepid Spirit, I was going through the Navy SEAL Honor Foundation. I do want to mention them because they do fantastic work. It's a nonprofit organization. It's taken SOF veterans, and it's taken any SOF adjacent and I think just regular veterans too, if there's enough seats for it. The priority is going to be your SOF veterans, but I think they're open to everybody else. And I also started working. I'm in a fellowship now, which is more or less, it's an internship program, together with Army SF organization called the Donovan Bank Foundation. And they're another fantastic transition seminar. And what they do, these seminars, is they help people wrap their minds around priorities and value systems and everything like that going on out of it. It's a little bit easier when you're in, because we all had kind of an agreement on where our values were, and then we got told a lot of our priorities, and they all made sense from a strategic standpoint. And even if they didn't, we could make them make sense, you know, logically.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I found myself as a student. I think you're a student in the Navy SEAL Honor Foundation. Anyways, I found myself in cohort with them. And one of the exercises is called Story Night, and it's one of the conclusion exercises of the first phase of that transition seminar, which is finding yourself, figuring out your priorities and your values and everything like that. And then Story Night is an opportunity to come out and talk a little bit about yourself, which, generally speaking, inside of the kind of stoic, quiet professional special operations community, is somewhat frowned upon, and is something that people don't have a lot of experience with. And I think that, you know, given that we're in the first 20 minutes of podcasting and interviewing here, and I have just ran my mouth nonstop,
You good, man.
that I knew, and I didn't feel like I needed a lot of repetition on that. I'd gotten a lot of good opportunities to get trained on how to speak publicly. Not that I still got a lot to learn, but I got a lot of opportunities to train that. I got a lot of opportunities to try it out, to try it in academic environments and training environments and deployed environments, in international waters, working across from departments of state, and working across from other agency members and things like that. And so just like really, really got a lot of opportunities to speak with people and to present. And so I thought to myself, well, there's something else that I did want to talk about, that I did want to address, and it's that survivor guilt that I think at least is in part responsible for some of this veteran suicide statistic that everybody's now aware of, which is good that everybody's aware of it, not that it's around. But I thought that's something that I do want to talk about because at this point in my life, I got more friends that have died at their own hand than friends that have gone down in training accidents or in combat. And you know, the way things are going, that scale is only tipped and is going to continue in that direction. And so the front that I find myself fighting on now is not so much keeping my buddies alive on the X or in combat or anything like that or deployed. It's more so, well, what can I do inside of the community? So anyways, that's what I decided to talk about. And my survivor guilt piece, one of the things that came to mind is, like I said, I can talk in front of an audience. I feel fairly confident that I can talk in front of an audience. Whether or not I'm good at it, leave that to somebody else to decide. But I feel fairly confident I can do that. And so I thought, well, what's harder than that? You know, it's probably singing a song in front of people. Singing a song in front of people while you're sober. How about singing a song in front of all your warrior colleagues while they're still sober, maybe one beer in? And it's all dudes too, so you're not going to woo anybody in the crowd, right? So I was like, okay, that's a challenge. Now we're on to something. Okay, that's going to be.
And your buddies are definitely gonna, you know, I don't know if you would call it constructive criticism, but criticism. Your buddies are all good at that, you know.
You're absolutely right, and that's what I thought too. But man, boy, was I surprised at the end of that. So the story that I wanted to talk about was a friend of mine that used to come around, and he wanted to play music with me. We were in school together. We were going through like the pipeline to become an operator, and the tempo had kind of died down a little bit. We were learning a foreign language, and he found out that I play guitar, and he was like, "Hey, dude, we should get together and shred, man. We should do it. And he kept coming around. Excuse me. And I kept putting it off. Just thinking that, yeah, we'll get around to it, right? And it wasn't really my priority either. I wanted to get ready for dive. I knew the jump, you know, potentially was on the horizon. I didn't want to take anything for granted, but I knew that there were some schools, some high-speed schools and cool guy stuff that I wanted to get ready for. And that's really where I put my focus, both physically, emotional, mentally, and everything else. And, emotionally, I just married my bride, and so there was that too, and that's another complete crazy story because I had done that while going through special operations school out here in North Carolina, in Wilmington or in Sneads Ferry, North Carolina, and my wife was stationed out in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and so I would fly out. That's another story entirely. But so those things were going on, and I just said, you know what, maybe we'll get to it, and we didn't get to it because my buddy Talon Leach, he went down in KC-130 crash over Mississippi, and together with a couple other friends of mine, and I thought, you know what? I think that the thing that I'm supposed to do to defeat any manner of survivor guilt is to live fully, is to live as much of a full life. I don't mean to say that my life has to be majestic, and by what standard I don't even know, right? But that I'm supposed to live as much as I possibly can. I'm supposed to take every day by the horns. I'm supposed to really wrestle with something. Not for my own gratification necessarily, but so. This is my flawed reasoning, right? So if it resonates with some, that's fantastic. If it doesn't, everybody's free to tell me I'm an idiot. Absolutely. I got tons of stupid ideas where they came from. But the way I think of it is that I'm supposed to live as much as I can so that anybody that has a dearly departed brother, son, father, that they could say, oh, my so and so is one of those guys. You know, like, look at this guy. Like, you know, he was one of them. And they can look and they can say, you know, with pride in their heart and everything, say, yeah, he was one of those guys. You know, the stark contrast being, you know, you're kind of the idiot that gets in trouble out in town and whatever else, you know, and you're kind of a liability, right? So for me and for my metric, it's like, well, I got to do something. I got to really wrestle with life and conquer some things, either externally or internally. I really got to do stuff, not just for myself and not just out of anxiety, but so that I described it like the tarmac high five. You know, when your turnover, the guys that you're ripping out with on deployment, you're coming in and they're going out, and you don't have any time whatsoever to see them or to turn over with them or find out, like, hey, how were you doing your job for the last 6 months? Because all you do is you see them on the tarmac, on the landing strip, right? Your bird comes down, they're there with all their gear. Bird comes down, you're throwing your stuff off, throwing their stuff in, and all you got time for is high-fiving them on the tarmac. And it's not ideal, right? It's definitely not ideal. But we do that inside of our communities off of the trust that the guy that I'm high-fiving with, that he's going to take it from here and he's going to do great work. And I have utmost faith and confidence that he's going to take all the projects that I was working on, all the individuals that I had touch point with, he's going to do right by all those relationships. He's going to do the best that he possibly can. And with that faith and confidence, I get on that bird and I depart. And so that's kind of how I rationalize and I wrap my mind around the guys that departed, you know, is that we have that high five on the tarmac. I got it from here. And then I said to them, I'll put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to play a song dedicated to my buddy Talon. And so I did. I played them a song, and that was, I just received a Fender Stratocaster made possible by charitable donation and goodwill, because guys knew that I was playing music. I played a Christmas concert on a borrowed guitar and had an opportunity to play with the 2nd Marine Division band up on a stage, and my kids were in the audience. This is the first time they'd see Daddy play up on a stage and wearing uniform and everything like that. Yo, super cool. It was so cool. I had a solo. They introduced me. I got up, spotlight and everything, and I could hear my kids down in the crowd yelling, "Daddy!" I'm like, yes, that's mountaintop moment. But it was
felt amazing, yeah.
Oh yeah, like $1 million, man. But it was on a borrowed guitar, and it was on a little $100 amplifier that I bought for my son, so he had something to play on. And so, anyways, some really kind people caught wind of that and helped me out. And I just received the guitar. I can't remember. It was leading right up to it, and I just received an amplifier in the mail. And I'd unwrapped it. Like, all right, here we go. We're gonna do this. And I was gonna do it for the reasons that I mentioned, and then also to make peace with it. Like, I wanted to bury that axe. I wanted to get that off my chest. I never got around to playing with you, Talon, and I'm sorry, man. Like, I put it off. I shouldn't have. You know, there's a very brotherly human connection we could have made, and now I want to, make amends with that. I wanted it to be done, and I played it, and Sean Carano, who was hosting that whole thing, he'd saved me for last. He knew I was coming in with something. He didn't know what I was coming in with, but he knew I was coming in hot, because I was like, "Hey, Sean, I'll go first." And he was like, "Dude, that's not how this works. I picked the order here, man." And so he knew I was coming in with something hot, and so he put me on very, very last, as a very, very last speaker. And so I closed it out. I closed out our story night for that cohort of the Honor Foundation. And then afterwards, people came up and talked to me about it. And I thought, for sure, like you said, like, "Hey, man, what the hell are you doing?" I thought for sure there's going to be, I don't know, just like some light ribbon and bantering and things like that. But man, it was a little bit reserved at first. But there was definitely some dudes that wouldn't move to tears or anything like that. But like, we're like, "Man, that was good. I really liked that. I enjoyed that. You should do more of that." When
Yeah.
can you, so on and so forth. And I got those responses. And then Monica Fletcher, who also works with Dawn Foundation, she reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I know this guy here, I know this guy there," and little by little, uh, people started reaching out and giving me opportunities to play for fundraisers, play for nonprofits. Um, Here in about what's going to be not this upcoming weekend, but weekend after, I'm going to play for the Marine Raider Foundation's Gold Star Family Retreat. I'm going to go out there and play, and we're going to hang out with Gold Star families, and it's going to be a matter of celebration. It's going to be a feel-good event. I'm really stoked about that. I'm going to bring my family out, and it's going to be good. It's going to be great, and
Heck yeah, man.
I'm stoked about the opportunity, man.
That's great. I'm happy for you, dude. Get to play that. You know, you're not only are you supporting, veterans or active duty, but now you're moving in. You know what I'm saying? Moving forward. You know, and I got a chance to hear some of you. A little short, but you play great. You can sing. And I can't wait for the audience to hear you too, because it's, dude. I think
Yeah.
I think you'll be going places.
I'm flattered. I'm trying. That there's definitely a very real and alive portion of me that wants to try, that wants to do right by something, and that's where my heart's at. As far as well, I want to represent myself well. I want to represent my I want to represent my community well. And like I said too, like as an immigrant, I think this country is awesome, and the art that it's produced, the culture that it's produced. Man, I say this time and again, you go anywhere in the world. I mean, hey, you've been around the world, man. You go anywhere in the world, and you go and you find the karaoke machine, or you find the playlist or whatever. Bro, it's gonna be an overwhelming amount of American-made music.
Oh
Or
yes.
if it's not American-made music, it's one of those many tributes to American music. And when I say tributes to American music, I mean guys like down in Australia making AC/DC. I mean guys like in England making the Who. I mean Eric Clapton. I mean there's endless guys that took Americana and American roots music and American vibe and ideals and feelings of freedom and passionate expression and individualism and everything else. All these things that, man, I grew up on the outside, and I looked at American export items, and they're enchanting. They're absolutely amazing. That feeling, man, that hasn't gone away. I've been in America for almost as long as I was in Denmark before I moved over here, and that feeling still hasn't gone away. I'm still deeply enthralled by and enchanted by, if you will, these ideas of the American experience and the American spirit and everything like that. That's something that I like and I want to do right by.
I wouldn't be able to tell if you were, a foreigner. You know what I'm saying? You speak.
I get to
Like-
practice every day.
Oh man, dude. I mean, you're like if I met you and you never would have told me that you were an immigrant. You know what I'm saying? I'd never
Yeah.
know. I mean, your
Well-
English is better than most Americans.
Well, thank you. Like I said, I try. I genuinely try. Like I get to practice every day. I'm a nerd. I love etymology. I like studying where words come from. This also comes from back in Denmark. My grandmother that I had the great pleasure of spending a lot of time with growing up. She worked at a school, has huge encyclopedias in Danish at home, and so I spent time learning proper Danish and the Queen's Danish and like really uh, in my family, like we really respected and understood and kind of held to the importance of knowing how to use your language properly, that it is a tool, has great utility. And my mother, she went on to become a school teacher as well. And so that's kind of the background as far as like words go. And then I come to the States, and at first I go to junior college in Houston, Texas. And people think that I'm from New York because they can't quite place like, where's that accent from? What's that? What's going on? But pretty much in like the first immediate interaction with anybody, my name is Ulrich. Oh, where's that from? You know, like that's, we don't get past introductions before like it's out the bag, man. Yeah, I was from Denmark and so am I, you know. But and then if anybody asks any more, like, you know, well, I moved to Texas as fast as I could and became an American by way of the Marine Corps on Veterans Day 2011 on the USS Midway. You know, if anybody asks, I'm quick to volunteer that bit of information because I'm proud of it. You know, it's something that I really like. And yeah, I do try. I really do try. And whenever I'm trying to do music, I really do try. I want to try and do right by, and that's where my well, I went to school for jazz, and that's, in my best estimate, it seems like a lot of, at least the academic pursuit of jazz is very much doing right by the giants of jazz, the people that made this style of hardcore American music, right? Like this is something that, you know, yeah, this is has big American export and everything like that. Like there's no doubt in anybody's mind that jazz is purely American, that blues is purely American, that rock and roll is American music, and that when you're doing those genres of music, well, you got to know the greats. You got to know these guys, and not only do you need to know them, but you need to know why they were great, and you need to understand them, and not only understand their music, but also understand their personalities, their personal struggles, this, that, and the other. Like it's got depth to it, man. It's really got density, and I gained an appreciation for that idea of trying to do right by it. Now, like I said about the public speaking, I'll say the same thing about the music. Now, whether or not I am doing right by it, I'll let that to somebody else to judge, because if I get caught up in that, you know, everybody's their own worst critic, and you just sit in that for ages. I think it's really admirable, something that you said, that you go back and you listen to your stuff. That's a hard thing to do, man. That's a hard thing to do, but Lord knows you grow from it, and so that's why I try to start, you know, sharing things, and I try to share them as unfiltered as I can allow myself to do on social media and whatnot. Just throw it out there, share it with people that, you know, care to tune in and listen and whatnot, harvesting likes and thumbs up and stuff like that, but more so to give myself the opportunity to listen back to what did I do that I liked and what did I do that I didn't like. Kind of like what you were saying before about your podcast and how it's getting better, you know. Absolutely.
Yeah, man, I try, you know, and I believe wholeheartedly that in order to, you know, be successful, you're gonna have to critique yourself. You're gonna have to listen to it. You're gonna have to, you know, just like you were saying about the gym. You see these guys writing down, jotting down stuff, you know, what they lift, their weight, whatever they jot down. And I
Yeah.
believe that, you know, I do the same thing as when I'm not while I'm driving, but you know, I make a mental note, and then like when I get to where I'm going, I'll write it down and be like, this is what I'm going to work on next. This is, you know, you know how everyone when they're speaking, they tend to say like certain words, and it's like a same word repetitively,
Oh
and
yeah.
you know, so I try to listen to myself, and if I don't like what I'm doing, then I try to, you know, that next episode, I'll, you know, I gotta. It's practice, man, and consistency.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I tell my son this too. Like, oh, I tell my kids this. You know, like you're gonna get better at what you do. You know, whatever it is that you're doing, you're gonna get better at it. If it's a bad thing that you don't want to do and you keep doing it, you're gonna get better at that too. So it's gonna be a rut for you to get out of it. You know, and the same thing, man. Pet words and everything like that. Cadence of speech, oversharing, overspeaking. Oh, uh, like that. You know, I do that a lot, and I know that there's some habits they die hard, man. They really
Oh
are.
yeah,
But it's a work in progress. I try. I definitely try.
yeah.
But hey, you know what? I know you're trying to tease it out of me. Hey, look what I found. I'm out in my garage, and I just my air conditioning went out. I live in Wilmington, North Carolina. It's hot and humid, and my air conditioning went out here, and I've still been out here practicing. Whenever I can get away with it, both, I got my wife and kids and everything inside that I love dearly, and I want to spend my time with. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's prioritizing and kind of cutting into what I can. Um, it's also been like what is bearable. So, anyways, a good friend from church and lives right down the road. Will, he came by with a window unit that I put into my garage, and it's actually keeping it down to where I can be out here at this time of day, because normally otherwise there's no chance I could be out here. But here we are in my garage, and and I can put my amps out here, and also I know I thanked you already, but I want to say I want to thank you, because this gave me the impetus to set up some of my audio hardware that I haven't used yet. I knew that if you're going to do the music thing, you got to do this. But time is a hot commodity, and I'm trying to. I mean, it's an hour and a half drive for me to drive up to the music therapy office and go up and do that. Hour and a half back. We do worship at our church every Sunday. I go out and do rehearsals with my wife as much as I can, and we try to stay involved and engaged. And then I got 4 little kids I try to stay involved and engaged with too, and so trying to get out here and get after it anytime that I can, get out here and get after it. What I really want to do, I don't want to work with any of this digital stuff. I don't want to work with this microphone. I don't want to work with this laptop. I don't want to work with this camera. I don't want to work with this audio interface. What I do want to work with is this guitar. It lights up my world, man. It's sorry for the pop there, but what it does is, well, I'll play something, and I'll tell you what it does afterwards. Something that I've really gravitated towards is Hendrix. One, obviously, I play guitar, right? So big whoop there.
Yeah.
But also, Hendrix was a fellow veteran. He served during a time of great turmoil in Vietnam, right?
Excuse
He
me.
was he was an airborne guy, like, guy's a cool dude, and he also had some hard-hitting commentary from he wasn't heavy-handed about being a vet by any stretch of the imagination, but he'd seen some things, he'd experienced some things, and I find to be very relatable, and I think it's because we have some commonality in there. So, and I love the way that he describes tragedy. This is one of them. Down the street you can hear her screaming, "You're a disgrace." She slams the door up in his drunken face, and now he stands outside. His neighbors start to gossip and drool. He cries, "Oh girl, oh you must be mad. What happened to the sweet love you and me had?" Against the door he leans, starts to see. His tears they fall and burn the garden green. And so castles made of sand fall in the sea eventually. Was an Indian brave before he turned 10. Played games in the woods with his friends, and he built up a dream that when he grew up he'd be a fearless warrior chief. Many moons passed, the warrior grew strong, till tomorrow he'd sing his first war song. And fight his first battle, something went wrong. Surprise attack killed him in his sleep that night. And so castles made of sand fall in the sea eventually, yeah. was a frown, she was crippled for life. She couldn't speak a sound, no, she hoped and prayed to stop living. She decided to die. She drove a chair to the edge of the shore, and to her legs she smiled, "You won't hurt me no more." And a sight she never seen made her stand up and say, "Look, a golden winged ship is coming my way." And so castles made of sand fall in the sea eventually. Yeah, they do. Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
I think the idea there is that there are many elements all throughout human existence that are tragic in nature, right? And
Yeah.
the maturing realization that all these castles made of sand, all these things that we build for ourselves, eventually they're going to fade away. They're going to be gone. And something I listened to very recently, and I put it up as my little tagline, is that love is an act of courage. And I was listening to this guy talking about it, and I can't remember where it's from. Somebody will probably know. I should know what I'm quoting, but I don't. But it resonated with me. And the point of it was that loving something or someone is ultimately tragic because they're going to die and go away. Like, they're not, nothing's going to last forever. Nothing is going to last forever. Nothing in this world lasts. And there's a good chance that you're going to see people that you pour love into, not just family, but friendships and whatever else, but you're going to see them go away. And so why are you going to submit yourself and expose yourself to that pain of loss, that pain of, that inevitable, right? Rationally, you know it's going to happen. The inevitable pain and suffering of loss. And decide to love, right? Because you're courageous, because living courageously has merit. And that's, I think, that's what I take away from it. Maybe I'm reading too far into it, you know, but that's what I take away from it. That's what, when I play and when I read his poetry, that's the stuff that resonates with me. And then what it does for me mentally and emotionally is I try to gravitate towards things that are difficult for me to do. It's difficult to play and sing at the same time, and it's difficult to play things in one rhythm and sing things in a different rhythm at the same time. And then it's difficult to do that in a way that doesn't throw the rhythm away and doesn't just feel like a matter of technical athleticism, but in a way that allows you to feel the things that you're doing. And so that's my pursuit. That's what particularly The Castles Made of Sand by Hendrix does for me, is it gives me an opportunity to wrestle with something that's difficult enough for me to execute that there's no chance whatsoever that I can be embarrassed about or worried about the past or anxious for the future or anything else. I have to be right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about the lifestyle that I have to leave behind in the Marine Corps and in the Special Operations realm, it's very intensive and it's demanding. And it's kind of demanding in the same way that whenever you're wrestling with that, everything else kind of just melts away. And you got mission, you got focus, you got purpose, you got servitude, you got these things that just, you know, like add value to it. And so you can just be wholesale, dive into, I don't know, take your pick. Like, we're diving, literally, you know, diving this week or whatever. We're jumping out of airplanes this week, or, you know, we're throwing grenades into rooms and then running back right into them right after, you know, or, you know what I mean? Like, we're doing something that's outrageous and intense, and we're just throwing ourselves wholesale into it, and everything else just melts away. I can't do that anymore. One of my medical stipulations is that I have to be on an anticoagulant. What it does is effectively makes me a bleeder, so I'm now Mr. Glass, and so I can't. There's like all of those whiling out pursuits, even hobby pieces. You know, like I can't, you know, It,
Hey, you got to be
very
careful what you.
irresponsible. Yeah,
Yep.
it'd be very incredibly irresponsible of me to go out and do some rock bouldering or downhill mountain biking or and I mean heck even skateboard is kind of risky, so there's this is one of the few bastions that I have in my life, without a doubt, where I know that I can throw myself into it, and it will demand everything of me, or I'll fall flat on my face like an idiot. And I really don't want to fall flat on my face like an idiot. That's something that I really don't want to do, and so I have, in lieu of national interest, strategy, and servitude, giving it value and purpose. My value and purpose is I want to do right by American music. I want to do right by my brethren. I want to do right by myself. I don't want to make these things look foolish or silly. So I'm trying, and that's what I mean to say when I say I'm trying. Like this is what I'm working on. This is the thing that's meaningful and impactful to me. And I think that if I do it from a place of it being meaningful, that will translate. I think so. That's the idea.
I can definitely see, the way you describe the music and how you play and play for others. I can definitely see why you lean towards the blues and like that type of genre. I mean, you have that passion for the music, or playing that guitar. So I definitely see it,
I
So
love it. I love it. Yeah. The and the other thing that so that's I guess, well, let's see, that's my creative outlet, that's my artistic side and relational side, is trying to get into that and find a place where that makes sense. And then the jazz side of me, like I'm trying to find a way. Look, there's a lot of overlap between jazz and blues, and that feeling, that exists in the two. There's oh man, so growing up when I was a kid, The Simpsons was coming out, and I remember, like, it doesn't matter where you're at in the world, like The Simpsons you're gonna see it. And I remember when I was a kid, I had an album of, this is so stupid, but I had an album of The Simpsons Sing the Blues. I had that as a kid, and I would listen to songs off of there, and they're a bunch. It's a cartoon show of people singing the blues. One of the songs on there was Billie Holiday's "God Bless the Child," which is a fantastic song. I want to sing that for you, and I want to sing that for your audience.
all right.
Because I think it's a fantastic song. It's a very, very early, it's 1930s blues and jazz. It's got a lot of chord smithing to it and whatnot. It just makes me feel like I believe it, man. Like I believe it when I heard Lisa Simpson singing it, and it made me want to. It in part made me want to do jazz. It goes like this. Then that God shall give, them that's not shall lose. So the Bible said, and it's still his news. Mama may have, Papa may have. God bless a child that's got his own. That's got his own. And as the strong they get more, yeah, the weak ones they fade. Empty pockets don't. They don't ever make the grade. Mama may have, Papa may have, yeah, but God bless the child that's got his own. He's got his own. got lots of friends crowding round your door. When you're gone and spending it, they don't come round anymore. Which relations they give across the bed and such, and you can help yourself, but now never take too much. Mama may have, Papa may have. God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own, that's got his own. So I heard
Nice,
that.
man. Nice.
Yeah, thanks, man. I
You
heard
can
that,
play the
heard that
guitar,
at a
dude.
young age. I'm trying. I'm trying. I get really excited about this guitar in particular. When I went to North Texas, the aesthetic was jazz, very much. And there was a couple of like really cool dudes that were playing electric guitar. There was a dude there playing. Tim Goins was playing Strat, and Ryan Davidson. Oh shoot, I'm gonna hate myself. I forgot his last name. He played the Telecaster, and I knew that there was ways to play solid body, but very much the aesthetic there was classic and traditional jazz music, and the idea of playing on a Strat was just not on my was not on my radar, and so I denied myself in that regard, in my pursuit of doing what I thought was the right thing inside of that genre, and I think it was the right thing inside of that genre. And then the pursuit of music to me became pretty frivolous, and also I went to University of North Texas State College, and so there's a bunch of dudes there with the Hazelwood Act. This was between 2006 and 2010. So this was also, guys getting out of their first enlistment and second enlistment, or for medical reasons getting out and going to college during the initial push in Iraq and pushing into Afghanistan. So there's a bunch of dudes there, and I found myself mingling with and talking with veterans and starting to like that debt of gratitude starting to emerge to me of like, oh, this is a cool country. This idea that I can play music and pursue that frivolously, and I was making money playing music. I was making money teaching lessons, and I really felt free to utilize my own labor as much as I wanted to make money and to better my circumstance, do whatever I wanted to with it, really. And a lot of it was very indulgent. And parallel with that, I started seeing these guys coming back, with the legs missing and things like that. Oh, also, the place I started seeing them was in the gym, because they'd wear their Oorah shirts and stuff like that, or they'd wear their Army Strong shirts and what have you. And I started going to the gym. I never went to the gym. I grew up in a small, very, very small town in Denmark, population of less than 2,000 people. Very small town in Denmark. Yeah, really, really small place, right? And that's where I grew up. And I still know every street like the back of my hand and everything like that. Coming to the States, I'd never gone to the gym. I'd never done any of that. And playing music as much as I did to try and keep up with the jazz guys at UNT, I started to hurt my hands. And my guitar instructor one time, he's like looking at me. He's like, "Well, there's a gym here. There's a world-class gym facility here because we are in Texas and football is king. And so we actually have several gyms. Why don't you go use them? They're free for all students and faculty members here. So go and use the gym. You take care of your body." And I wasn't at all. And so I started hitting the gym. And lo and behold, in the gym, you'll find guys that, record their meals and record their reps and sets and everything like that. You find those guys there, which is completely new to me. and I found veterans. I found a lot of veterans there, and I found veterans that were missing pieces and stuff like that. And as any young man does, you start to stack yourself up against, like, you see one guy deadlifting over there, and then you start picking up your weight, and you're like, oh, see one guy put down these dumbbells, and you pick up the next set or whatever, like there's just young man energy in a gym, right? And I was no different. And I started to feel like a debt of gratitude for what these people had subjected themselves to in service of a country that I benefited the reward for. And I felt that debt of gratitude, and I really wanted to give something back to that. And I also started to see how music was becoming very self-indulgent and wasn't actually very healthy for me. And so I was like, well, I'll join the Marine Corps. I'll serve, and I'll do this thing. And then, lo and behold, inside the Marine Corps, I spent the first 2 years with the band, and that's also incidentally where I met my wife. She was in the Navy music program, and I was in the Marine music program, and we were in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Virginia's for lovers, and that's where we met. And I had no focus whatsoever for her at the time, because I was very laser beam focused on, like, I wanted to. Truth be told, I'd gone to the Air Force first because I liked the idea of steak and eggs or steak and lobster on Fridays. I liked the idea of 5-star hotel rooms. I like that kind of stuff. But they wouldn't take me because I wasn't a citizen. Or they would take me, but I'd have to do just general population inside of there. And same thing for the Army. I wanted to do Rangers or SF, like the 18 X-ray program. But same thing, you can't do that because you're not a citizen. So you have to come in, get your citizenship, and do that. I went to the Marine Corps recruiting office, and they're like, and I'd already rationalized this. I'd rationalized that, well, if I have to be, take this however you will, if I have to be a nobody, if I have to be a general population inside of any service, then I want to do it inside the Marine Corps because they're going to give me the best baseline training. They're going to give me 3 months worth as opposed to everything else, and they're also going to give me more time on the rifle than anyone else. And generally speaking, there's a martial ethos throughout the Marine Corps that very much favors guys of my mindset that kind of just get after it and want to go and go hard. There's almost like a sick bravado around it too, which isn't necessarily healthy, but like I said, I wasn't a healthy individual. So I found myself in the Marine Corps doing that. I found my wife. I met what was going to become my wife at the Armed Forces School of Music. I graduated the program early because I came with a background of jazz at UNT. I spent extra time there because the Marine Corps didn't have the budget to move me prematurely. And I just hit the gym 3 times a day and was just an animal. And then I spent a year with the 1st Marine Division Band, and that's where I played a ton of gigs. And I did. I played a ton for the Marine Corps, the 1st Marine Division Band. And I made some great friendships there. Friendships that I have to this day, and I love these people. I absolutely love them. They are entirely a different breed of Marines. But at the same time, there are still so many. I mean, Marine Corps boot camp is a cult, 100% through and through, and it's a very effective cult. And these people are no different. They're all Marines, but then also like a bunch of quirky, weird, musicians. But I got to play with them. I put together a small jazz combo. We toured that throughout the West Coast to do a recruiting tour. I played for a bunch of high schools and colleges, and played music for them. And even later, when I say I have enduring relationships and friendships there, I broke my leg doing a static line jump with MARSOC, and while I was on the road to recovery, they found out that I was on crutches and not working. And so they asked, hey, can you come play music with us? And they toured me through Europe. I was like, oh, this is amazing. You guys are great. I just lost you. Oh, you're back.
No, man, I had to shut my door to my little area because I have the dogs and there's no one here. So they make more noise when I'm, seems like when I'm doing a podcast.
Of course, of course. I'm
So
surprised nobody's ran through my garage door because we have the chicken feed in here. And at some point, like I was 100% anticipating, it might happen right now because I mentioned it. Kids are gonna come running through the door. Um, but anyway, yeah, I got to play with them, very much inside of the jazz aesthetic, and I only played archtop guitars and like very jazz centric, jazz focused. And that kicked off again when I was bedridden and crutches and everything like that. And it wasn't until I had that moment of like I'm gonna make amends with my survivor guilt early last year that I finally was like, I'm gonna do something completely different. I'm gonna play Strat because, growing up, I, growing up in Europe, man. If you think back on like the '80s and '90s, the Stratocaster guitar was king, And I mean, there's lots of Gibson stuff and whatnot there too. This is a little bit nerdy on the guitar side, but for like a guitarist, like Strat is freaking awesome, super cool. And I denied myself that because I wanted to be inside of the aesthetic of my pursued uh, jazz studies, and so I finally gave into this, you know, self-gratifying idea of playing the Strat, and I'm really enjoying it. It's giving me a different perspective on playing music. Um, it's giving me a different perspective on how I approach playing music, and it's also because the Stratocaster is such a relatable instrument across the board. When I play jazz music and I pull out like an old big archtop guitar, 1950s, it's got the F holes carved in it, it's got like an old sunburst finish and everything, and it just I knew, because I knew dress blues uniforms, you've already won the battle before you said anything because of the way you look. I knew that if I busted out a legitimate uh, jazz guitar, that it would tell most of the story for me, and people would already get the perception of what they're going to hear as jazz. And then also because jazz sometimes is somewhat convoluted, I could hide inside of that convoluted jazz flavor. It's very conniving, very very scheming on my part. But I stacked the deck in that favor, and I hid inside of that. And opposite now, I feel like whenever I pull out a Strat, people immediately have, like, generally speaking, immediately have a million associations with the Stratocaster guitar. John Frusciante is a huge proponent for the Stratocaster guitar and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Jimi Hendrix, who doesn't know Jimi Hendrix? Everybody knows Jimi Hendrix. And if you don't know Jimi Hendrix, or if you're not familiar or a fan, well, there's Eric Clapton, or there's George Harrison, or there's John Mayer. Like, the Stratocaster guitar is all over the place. People know what it can sound like, and then people will have questions. Why doesn't it sound like that when you play it? So there's a lot of weight that I feel very excited about stepping into trying to play it this way, and that's really these are the nerdy, high functioning autism things that I really dive deep into, and then I really geek out on. And it informs my approach, and that's also why I don't talk much whenever I play music. I talk a little bit about my friends and why I do it and what it means to me emotionally. I quip a little bit about jokes on the songs and whatnot, and then I usually get to playing, because otherwise I just will go right into the rabbit trails. And, but if there's like other musicians and other guitarists in the crowd, or anybody like wants to sit and talk for a while about it, man, oh yeah, game on. I love it. So, but I wanted to give myself, I wanted to take this opportunity and give myself the opportunity to play live, warts and all. A good friend of mine, CB Johnson, here in Wilmington, he's another veteran that also plays music and writes his own songs, and he goes live all the time. And people are like, "Oh, you should do a highlight reel, this, that, and the other." And he's like, "Nah, man, I do live because warts and all. You need to know what it is you're getting." And I'll say this, man, like that really resonates. This idea of integrity, right? That's very much in the military side, probably again, but like this idea of having integrity, uh, saying what you do what you say, delivering, you know, like having a standing readiness, giving it your all and everything like that. Like being honest is it's huge. It's huge to me, and I also understand and know that you can do a lot to portray yourself on social media one way or another, um, and make it look different than it really is. And like I really appreciate the opportunity to go live with you, and you know, show my ass a little bit. Like for anybody that's listening and like really is listening, there was a wrong chord going back into the second verse of God Bless the Child. Uh, there was also a part in Castles Made of Sand. The last time that I played the lick while singing Castles Made of Sand on top of it, where I didn't get that trill on the high strings, like those little things. Those are the things that, like, inside of my metrics, like, they're there, you know? That guy, as much as I try to, like, get rid of him in the moment, like, he's still there analyzing everything that's happening. Like, that really, really intense analytical, you know, adrenaline, like, monster that lives and breathes inside of a trained and experienced professional warrior, um, still alive and well. And I don't want to escape that exactly, but I do want to find places where I'm going so fast or I'm doing something so hard that it shuts up for a little while. And those are the moments that, like, even if I'm even if I'm just doing it for me, like, it's good. It's good. I like it. But then I also like to share it because I like that too.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I mean, I love music, and I don't know anybody that doesn't love music, you know, so, um, now I'm not as educated on music as you know, because you can listen to something, I could tell, and even when you're playing, you're doing yourself, what was it say, corrective criticism, so you're already, you know, doing that as you're playing, so, you know, you're on a different level. I listen to it, but you critique yourself as you're playing, so
Well, also,
I,
this is the first time that I'm doing it with headphones, and this is a new experience entirely too. Because instead of hearing my inside voice louder, um, I'm hearing all of my external projection louder because it's amplified and put into my ears. So I'm only hearing what an audience member would hear. But you know how it is, like whenever you listen to yourself talk and you hear yourself recorded back, it sounds different, and you're like, oh, brother, what is this? Ooh, like, you're like,
yeah.
what is this? And like that
Dang,
same thing
what
happens.
the heck was I thinking?
Yeah, yeah. And like, do I really sound like that? Oh, that's cringy. I hate that. Uh, but whenever I'm talking into the microphone right now, the sound that the microphone picks up and puts into the headphones is louder than the sound that's projecting inside of my skull. And so I'm hearing myself, honestly, like really for the first time, I'm hearing myself the way others would hear me. And I can tell even in my pattern of speech, like it's modifying the way that I speak. So this is really interesting. Like this is really neat. This is a neat and unique experience. I should probably experiment with more because it'll help me to shape my projection going into the audience. So again, I want to thank you because I wouldn't have done this on my own. If there wasn't something to do it for, I have such a hard time doing things.
You know,
If
it's
they're not
crazy.
for somebody.
Definitely crazy how things work out. You know what I'm saying? Like, say you, you know, Lucas got us in touch. You put together what you've. I don't know if I don't want to say this. Procrastinate maybe a little bit.
Entirely.
Of putting your
Yeah.
stuff together. But you know, I do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But I have to, you know, put it in my head. You know, so like whenever I go back to listen to this podcast, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find something I messed up or I done wrong or I need to do better But I like the fact that, you know, and I appreciate it. You know, I'm glad you were able to set that up, and it's a different experience for you. You know, but I mean, I enjoy it. I'm glad you came on. You know, so we can have this conversation. You know, it's interesting listening to your story, your life story, and your passion of the music. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people, they like, I play music, but you don't, you have that passion, and that's definitely, when you say blues, or you know, that's that type of genre. I don't want to repeat myself, but I mean, you could tell, like, that's you live it, and then you just play it. So
Thank you. That speaks. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you to say. That speaks right into the, oh man, the biggest battle that I've had to trying to get myself to start doing this and do it more regularly and repeatedly is the imposter syndrome. Is that idea that, like, oh man, like, who are you trying to fool? You know, like, and and I'm starting to get to that point in allowing myself to do this, which is such a stupid way to think about it, but it's truly the way that I'm inhibiting myself, and I'm becoming more aware of how I'm inhibiting myself, and I'm then also able to get around it. But I'm becoming more apt to allow myself to do this type of music and to express myself with other people's music and try to make it my own, because I do feel deeply that I have shared lived experiences with the guys that have written it. I do believe that I have a I have a lived life that can I have emotional baggage, I guess. I have stuff that I can tap into that can make this stuff like really relevant to me. And it really is, man. Like, it really is. Dude, the three verses to Castles Made of Sand, man, like, dude, I have definitely been that drunken idiot. Dude, I have dreamt of being that warrior chief. I have known the guys that I've trained with and blood, sweat, and tears, and have, like, literally all of those three, and gone through some of the most grueling to get to the point, and in the process of getting to the point of going to and fight and be that warrior chief, that's where they died. I know them. I know them deeply. I got a I got a friend that I know and I love, and that crippled child's verse, like, that's real for me too. And I'm like, man, this is, I believe all this stuff. This is real. I like that. I'm starting to really like that, and to really like to connect with people over this stuff. There's also, like, self-gratifying things of, like, you know, like, my ego is definitely boosted when you're like, oh, you can really play that guitar. Like, I really appreciate it, and it's my toxic ego is like, hooray, you know. Like, there's definitely an ego king in there somewhere that really wants to take that and run with it. And oh man, one of my friends, Mark Arrington, he and I went to Selection together back in 2012. I got stories to tell, man. I got tons of them. When do we have to end? What do we
well,
have time?
whenever you want, dude.
All right. Let
Whenever
me.
you want.
Okay, you're gonna have to cut me off then at some point. Uh, but without getting into, like, where we were at together way back when, Mark Arrington now, is, among other things, is a big proponent for and inside of the nonprofit called the Veterans Business Collective, which meets here in Wilmington once a month. And it's exactly that. It's veteran owned businesses, and these veterans get together, and there's one guy that showcases, and then everybody just, they toss the mic around the room, give it quick, this is my name, this is my business, this is what I'm working on right now, whatever. And it just goes around the room. That's how I met CB. I learned about a local veteran musician through that, and then I've been in touch with him ever since. It's like a beautiful friendship blossomed out of just that. But yeah, anyway, my buddy Mark, yeah, he gave me the opportunity to be one of the presenters there. And so my ego king comes to life and is like, okay, well, he gives me 7 minutes. Okay, 7 minutes. All right. Well, I'm gonna play something that I'm familiar with to kind of get me going, get me loosened up. Then I'm gonna talk very, very little because I really want my playing to tell the story for me. And so I'm gonna play something that's hard and play something else that's hard. And then I'm gonna play, and then I played Van Halen Eruption because, like, yeah, uh, let's go. So I like just reaching for the hardest, like just craziest. And to, mind you, like the songs that I played was I played Hendrix. I can't remember the first song that I played. It's probably When Christ Mary or something like that. And then I played Manic Depression, which has like an interesting form, and you're playing over in three, and like it's neat. And then I played Van Halen's Eruption, and then I played the Star Spangled Banner, a la Jimi Hendrix. So like very like, you know, like very very gratuitous, and it was entirely over the top, entirely overkill. And I knew it was going to be overkill too, but I had to do it to satiate that one aspect of myself that's like, I'll show you, you know, like I can do it. Where I got an opportunity to go out and play for the Irreverent Warrior Silkies hike, who have a mission statement that I absolutely love, and the coordinator for this particular hike, he got up and said, "We are not. This is going to be with me for the rest of my life. We are not about suicide awareness. We are about suicide prevention. Get on the phone, call your friend, visit him. Don't wait." Like, heck yeah! Over to you. Play the national anthem. Wow! And I played the national anthem, and it was super cool. But inside the foyer, I was like, "Hey man, like I'm up here anyways. They paid for my hotel room, and I'm up here anyways." And my daughter and I, we made it a trip to go up and look for shark's teeth and sea glass and whatnot. It was on Emerald Isle. It was super fun. And I said, "Hey, while you guys are doing the sign-ups and whatnot, why don't I play some, you know, easy listening and whatnot?" And I did exactly that. And I played, you know, my downplayed versions of Hendrix and whatnot. And man, I moved myself. I was like, dude, this is rough. I put on sunglasses some night. I'm not, you know, showing all the emotion. You know, I felt the things that I was playing, and it was downplayed. It was more subtle, way more subtle than, you know, me playing Eruption, blasting it into the face of these poor people that had shown up to a bar to talk about their veteran businesses. But so it's gone through, my artistic approach has gone through some refinement, if you will. And I'm personally very pleased with the refinement. I really enjoy, I'm starting to really get to enjoy what it is that I'm doing, and get more and more opportunities to go out and play it for people, which I'm just over the moon about. And it takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of time for me to disarm my own stupid insecurities. It takes a little bit of time to show the world around me that it's not just a fluke, that it's probably something that I'm going to continue to do. Because you don't want to, well, it's hard to invest in somebody that's just, you know, I'll try it on for a little bit and then it's going to disappear and do something else. Which to a degree I'm probably going to do, because I still have to provide for my family. And while I am medically retiring and I'll get a medical rating and a retirement, I'm still want to give the best life that I can to these people. And I'm under no illusion that I'm going to go out and make it big as a musician. That's not at all in my purview. It's absolutely the personal healing journey, the connection with the kind of the loss of emotion, and getting back into that, and then trying to provide an opportunity and an outlet for people to do that. Bro, I just had, I think I mentioned this already, one of my friends, our realtor that helped us find this house, came out, had had dinner. Yeah, lunch with us. Dinner. Was it dinner? Shoot, I don't remember. No, it was dinner. Yeah, we had meatloaf. I think I told my son it was lunch, but it was dinner. Anyways, Rob, who they're now dating each other, was out here as well, and he's also a veteran. he's one of our JTACs, so joint terminal air control, right? He's the one that, like, oh dang, we're pinned down. Guy pulls, whips up an antenna. Is like, hey, check this out. Calls in a Spectre gunship or whatever, and flyers, 105s into you from the sky. Cool, that's awesome. So he was a JTAC for us. But I was telling him I'm gonna come on this thing and do the interview, and he was like, oh, he mentioned Guitars for Vets. He was out in Colorado. I'm like, dude, I actually just got onboarded with Guitars for Vets to be an instructor for them. Another opportunity, another door that opened, just in like searching through these things and what's available out there, and people I can work with, fundraisers that I can participate in, and things like that. And honestly, that's where I'm seeing this musical pursuit going. I would love to write songs about this stuff. For me, it's really, really difficult to well, this is a second language, right? And we're sitting here and I'm inundating you with all these thoughts there. My interface with music when I was growing up in Denmark and all this American music washed over my ears, I never heard the words, and I understand that there's many people out there in the world that listen to music and they don't really hear the words. They just hear the sounds of the words, the sounds that the words make. Entirely. Like they are sounds to me before they are meaning and words and poetry. And that's also why, like, very, very late now, as I'm like analyzing this stuff from Hendrix, like I've known about Hendrix for a long time. I play guitar for Pete's sake. But it hasn't been until like now that I'm reading the words that he wrote and I'm understanding them in a much deeper context. I feel like I'm really starting to understand that. And so that's to say too that the idea and concept of writing meaningful words and meaningful lyric and poetry is still seems very foreign and very far out there for me, and might also just be an excuse for me not to do it, but it's also something that I do want to do. So I think that's something that I want to do, but in the grand scheme of prioritizing, I probably will. I know that I have made myself too busy to do it, and I'll probably continue to do that just a little bit more, because because there's good music out there that I like, and I really want to pay tribute to, and I want to modernize it maybe a little bit, or bring it into my context a little bit. I feel like that's probably what I'm doing. I'm bringing it into my context, because you probably haven't ever heard a guy playing the Strat through a Fender amp and a guy singing "God Bless the Child" and meaning it, or well, you've definitely heard a guy playing the Strat and singing "Castles Made of Sand," but it's not cranked, and I don't have a band behind me, and I'm not doing the reverse delay on there, and so I'm trying to find ways to make it unique and make it my own, and make it a little bit different, but still very much with that kind of jazz lens of finding old songs and making them maybe new, or just using them as vehicles for exploration and creative expression. That's entirely too nerdy. I'm on a rant now, so put me back in, dude.
I think being that you're set up now, you could always record yourself, or go live. That way you can't edit it. Just go.
Yeah.
All out. Play what you want. Like, say, break it up into one song, and then you stop it. Then you do another live, and you just create them. That way you can't edit them. You already got it out there. Well, make your first one. Watch it. Be like, hey man, what can I do to make it better? You know what I'm saying? And just like you do. You're already critiquing yourself as you play.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's what's happening. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely what's happening. And as I'm going through and like looking at old videos that I posted and things like that, like they are very much that. They weren't live in that regard, but they were, just like hit it, toss it up there, cell phone videos. I just got I'm doing this on my laptop, but I just got a camera that has a pretty good picture quality. That's what I've recorded my very latest stuff onto Instagram with, and the quality is like night and day different.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how do I hook that up. That's the next thing. I'm looking at it right now. It's right there because I tried to hook it up to the laptop, so I didn't. Instead of using the laptop camera, I was going to use my Sony Alpha 7 R, I think it is. I was going to use that camera because it's much better sensor and lens and everything else. But yeah, that's on the horizon. Is like using this stuff better. We talked about that a little bit yesterday too, of like how we're very spoiled in the arena of media consumption, even at the amateur level. That like we can really, I mean, the way that things are now, you can make stuff that's fantastically good for amateur production, and why not? Because I know personally as a consumer that if it doesn't hit those marks, that I'm less apt to listen to it. And if I'm spoiled like that, who am I to think that not everybody else is going to be spoiled like that whenever they listen?
Another thing that I've come across with the past interview, like say past podcasts with some artists, is what do they call that? Packing your hard drive. So what I mean by that is you make all the videos, right? You have them just stored on your hard drive or and you're sitting there and you're already critiquing yourself, right? I think the best, just in my opinion, like I like people to watch my stuff and I take corrective criticism, so I would say have somebody that, a friend or a family,
Yeah,
watch your video and see what they think, man, because you're going to be the hardest, most harshest critic, okay, on your music. And that one song that you may say, oh man, I don't know about that. That ain't great. Or that one podcast or whatever, that's not great, but when somebody else listens to it, it's like, oh my God, that is amazing. And that it turns out to be a hit, you know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful on that aspect.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You never know. And that goes back to that idea of like, you never know what answered prayer you are. You never know if you never go. You never know if you never go. Like that's the truth of it, right? And that I've lived that so many times. I bought a one-way ticket coming over to the States when I came over here. I got held back in customs because they were like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I didn't have a student visa or anything. I wasn't even enrolled in college. I was nothing. I had absolutely nothing, and I just kind of winged it. And I drove my truck and my guitar up to the University of North Texas without being admitted into the jazz program there. I joined on an open contract into the Marine Corps because I knew I wanted to do special operations. I became a citizen after coming into the Marine Corps to go and become special operations. I courted my wife while I was stationed and going through the pipeline for special operations on the East Coast, North Carolina, and she was stationed out in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Now, this was when, I think it was Admiral McCraven, whoever was in charge of U.S. SOCOM at the time, had instated that any time that the Department of Defense gave a 96, so a 4-day weekend, right, federal holiday weekend, anytime that the general DOD had a 96, we got a 120. And so it was during those 120s that I was able to then, jump in a plane. I would red eye out there. It took me 21 hours door to door to go from my barracks room for my squad bay and fly out to Pearl Harbor and then fly back. Entirely not authorized. And to court my wife, who, by the way, uh, when I first started talking to her, rejected me wholesale. Like, no, this is not happening whatsoever. And so, like, my life is entirely full of just going in, you know, full send. And you're right. I need to do that more here. I don't know what the hesitation is about. Well, I do know it's some of that. It's all the insecurities, and none of them are new. None of them are uniquely me. It's just a bunch of BS, really. And it's developing. It's going in the right direction. Coming on here, getting an invitation to, and then coming on here and then playing, and then, like you said, getting past that rut of procrastination and doing, setting this thing up. This is really helpful. This really helps go in that direction. And same thing, like just picking up random gigs and I say yes to pretty much everything that comes my way. People also generally know my flavor, and so I don't get asked compromising weird stuff that I don't want to be a part of. So I just get asked to do, and even I wouldn't narrow it down so much to say I only do one thing, but I don't do Brown Eyed Girl, and I don't play to a backing track, and like I'm not gonna do those things, and so it's gonna be raw. It's gonna be warts and all for sure. And if I bring out, I've brought out duos, I've brought out trios, and they are like, we're making it up on the spot. We're having interplay, we're having dialogue. It's warts and all, man. It's a messy process of making live art. Oh man, it took me so long to get to this. I'm an idiot, but on the 25th of June this month, I'm going to be right down the street from me. There's Randy Tarr and his wife run a bar called The Bend, and it's like 5 minutes from my house. It's fantastic, and it's got a really nice outdoor area. The kids love it. It's a great place. They've really knocked it out of the park with that place. And I'm going to be playing there on the 25th. It's a Wednesday, and here's another project that I'm part of, is the Veterans Creative Arts Programs in Veterans Creative Art Program in Wilmington, and it's ran by Cameron. She just told me how to say her last name. I'm gonna butcher it now. Sorry, Cam. Cameron Batnatis. Yeah, that's not how you say it. So I need to be re-educated on that one. But she's a phenomenal painter, and she's broadly recognized. A local hero, if you will. But well recognized here in Wilmington, and she's a live painter, and so she's going to be there, which I'm super stoked about, because she does the same thing. It's performative art. It's a live thing, and there's risk involved with that. I think I like that a lot, obviously. I really do, and she's on board with that, and she's going to come out and she's going to paint while I play, and we're going to have performance art, and it's going to be. I'm stoked. I'm stoked that she wants to be a part of it. I'm stoked.
That'd be cool to see.
Invited. I'm super pumped, man. Like I'm gonna play my heart out. I'm gonna play these things that I know, that I believe in. I'm gonna play these songs that I know their meaning and their content. I'm gonna play these chords and these melodies that I know where they exist from a theoretical standpoint and an emotional standpoint, and I'm gonna move them in a direction that I want them to go into. And I'm gonna let myself be moved, and I'm genuinely stoked about that. And then there's gonna be somebody there painting at the same time, and I think that's super cool. And hopefully I'm gonna bring the kids down. My daughter likes to paint. Actually, all my kids are little artists. Not because we make them, but because the default software that people come programmed with, right? The default is that people are little creative things, little creative beings.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, well, at first we talked about it in the home, and then I was like, well, if they want to use printer paper, it's relatively cheap. Just let them draw on it. Let them freaking go nuts and draw anything, anytime that they want, all the time. And now we have like binders and binders, and we're looking at possibly moving, and we don't know what to do with all this art that they've made. But yeah, I'm stoked that they get that one, they come out and they see me play music, and then they inherently they just start singing and dancing and playing and whatever else, because they're little expressive creative beings. Nobody's told them that they can't, and so they just do. And and then they can come out and see Cameron paint alongside while Daddy plays, and be like, well, I guess you can do that too. And I'm all about that. I'm really pumped that they get to be a part of that.
Have they
Oh, and that's also
fixed their wall?
anybody that I know. Oh yeah. There's a oh man, there's this one cool piece that we've been talking about putting a frame around, because it's a we came into we came into my son's room, and there's just like this weird potato on the wall, and it's just this weird abstract looking piece of art, and it absolutely is a piece of art, abstract and just odd, and like what are you doing? Why is this here? And yeah, my wife and I want to put a little frame around it. It's still on the wall. We haven't taken it down. It just lives there. Yeah, there's they get, I don't know where they get it from. It's me. I buy it for them. But they get this double-sided tape, and then they just plaster all kinds of stuff up on the wall. My wife buys it for them too. They got like a bunch. Now they got craft sets and everything like that. And there's just stuff on the wall all the time, and it's fine. I really like that. I mean, it's not complete chaos all the time, and you still have to clean things up every now and again, to feel that calm and feel and impose control, chaos and order, and vacillate between the two, and have that balance, and try to give them an experience where growing up that they feel comfortable inside of both those modes of existence. And I feel like they do, and that's another piece where like I'm really excited to connect musically. Oh, another one to connect musically. So, remember that story I told you about Talon? And I wanted to make peace with my survivor guilt, and so I played a song and I dedicated it to him. A good friend of mine that I went to, we prepared for the pipeline course, and we went through the pipeline the pipeline is, for anybody that doesn't know, is the schooling that's all sequentially organized to bring you from entry point and into doing the job of whatever it is that you're trying to do. So for us, it was special operations in the Marine Corps, and my buddy Nick Jones and I, we were in the same pipeline, same dates, and we were going through it together. And he got medically discharged some years ago after a firefight where we tragically lost some brothers in Iraq, and he started I don't know if he started it, but I know he works deeply inside of and continues to do work with a nonprofit called Talon's Reach, and it's a healing retreat for soft warriors. And I think that's super cool that he does that. I reached out to him like, hey man, looks like you guys have music therapy. I just started doing this thing. I would love to come out there. Can I please be a part of this? And he says, he gets on the phone with me. It's about a month ago now, I think. He's like, you're not gonna believe this. Talon's dad is gonna come out for the music therapy. Tab Leach, he used to play guitar with his son Talon, and he's gonna be there, and I'm gonna be there. And so again, like what started out as like, okay, I want to make peace with the survivor guilt, with this one piece of, I never got around to, procrastination got the better of me. I never got around to playing this music together with a brother that kept coming up and asking, hey man, let's play, and never got the opportunity to. And in trying to make peace with that, now a little over a year later, I get to go to a retreat up in Montana and meet his dad for the first time and jam out in a music therapy session with him. Like, you can't plan for that, man. Like, it's just, that's awesome. I'm floored by it, man.
That's cool. Yeah, man, it's crazy how the way things work out, and then that's like a couple episodes back, 42, the band 42. You're aware of them,
Yeah.
but like I tell you that the lead singer, was my commander back in the day, which was
Yeah.
awesome. How things work out because, you know, I was just, I don't even know what I was doing. It just so happened that I seen his post of them singing, and I was like, what? Singing? I got to listen to this. So I started looking and looking, and I started following along, and I was like, dang, this dude's going at it. Let me hit him up. I ain't talked to him in forever. So sure enough, he was on his way to Florida to go play a gig. So I was like, dude, you got to come on the podcast. I was like, the whole band, but the other guys were busy, so I ended up getting him, which is great, and in the future I'll try to get them all, but yeah, the way things turned out, like it was totally unexpected. So I mean, the way things fall in place, man, it turns out great. So
It's divine, and I'm a big proponent for. I'm I'm a I'm a I'm a man of faith. I believe in my God, and I believe in Christ my Savior, and I believe in the power of the Holy Spirit, and I believe that we don't walk this world alone. And I have only seen evidence of any time that, well, I've got many impulses and inspirations to do things that were wrong, and I've done many wrong things, and I've had many vices and many challenges. But I've also had many instances like this feeling of like, well, I'm gonna make amends with, and then things falling into place, and I'm becoming better and better at discerning what is the righteous path, and being able to just, with very little information, go out and follow the righteous path. I feel like I've gotten a lot of repetitions doing that inside of special operations employment, um, but that was definitely, you know, a part of what I was as a person, launching myself into, relocating to America, launching myself into jazz studies program when don't, I, I didn't grow up playing music or anything, and my grandfather would listen to jazz in his office, but aside from that, I listened to the radio. I listened to FM radio, and a bunch of Eurotrash on there and whatnot, and 70s, 80s, and 90s pop. But just launching wholesale into a lot of things. And I know that when you allow yourself to be the conduit for, and you allow yourself to be the hands and feet, you allow yourself to be, to listen to that still small voice, and you go out and you do, I know that you can be worked through. But also, inversely, I know that if you don't, then you don't. And so I'm very excited about that as a prospect, and I'm excited to see others doing it too. And I'm seeing it leading to various different things, and I'm sure that it's not gonna be without its challenges and everything. But I don't have any illusions of grandeur or anything like that as far as it goes. I'm just really excited to be able to play, and then also social media. Like, I mean, what we're doing right now, this is amazing that we have the technological power to do this. I mean, otherwise I'm sitting alone in my garage again,
yeah.
But now, anytime that I sit alone in my garage, I can record something, I can share it with my friends. And I'd also say, like, overwhelmingly, all of my friends that I had from college going through a music program together with me, not many of them were conservative, not many of them were Christian, not many of them were pro-military, but pretty much all of them have been supportive in one way or another whenever they've seen me resurfaced now on the back end of my past almost 16 years with the service, coming back online and being re-engaged in music. Um, Many of them have spent these past 16 years deeply involved in music and are they're giants in their own right inside of the profession. And I've received nothing but love, encouragement, and support from these people, and it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
that's awesome, dude. That, when you have the support of your friends and family, you know, that's that's a great feeling. You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I give it to you, man. You know, you criticize even yourself playing, but in the scheme of things, you're gonna do it. I see it. You're gonna continue to play. You're gonna you're gonna end up getting that one show, and you're you're thinking about how the best way to support my family. Okay, but you're gonna get that one show. I have faith that you're gonna be able to support that family, and you're gonna be able to do what you love too. So I got faith. You'll do it.
Yeah, man, I love and appreciate that. I really do. I really do. I feel like I feel like I already in some way have gotten that in my opportunity to serve this country, and I mean I'm broken goods now. I'm Mr. Glass, and like I got a lot of limitations. But that being said, I'm not leaving here empty-handed, and I'm getting a retirement, and I'm also set in like having a lot of professional skills that allow me. Opportunities for employment as a consultant in relatively lucrative positions, which I'm super excited about, which will also give me, time is money, man, and having some elements of financial freedom to pursue this.
So
Can't
you have a fan or audience member has a request for you. Says, can you
Yeah.
play "Born Under a Bad Sign"?
Born Under
Hendrix.
Bad Son. That's Albert King though. Uh, I don't know if there's a Hendrix version of it, but yes, incidentally, I can. I don't know if this is somebody that I recently I recently went and I played a. Can you hear that like radio interference?
I hear something.
It's like very very faint. You know what that
Yeah.
is? It's because I have an old transistor, an old silicone fuzz pedal going on, and sometimes I'll pick up radio frequencies. It's super bizarre,
Nice.
but it's also like a product of using old school analog stuff. I'm a big proponent. You can kind of see a little bit of the grill back here, but it's a 65 super reverb, and then I have genuine vintage stuff and whatnot that I I didn't go immediately for genuine vintage, but I bought like some stuff that was made by the custom shop and made to look as though it was vintage relic, which I didn't really care about. I just wanted something that played well. And I liked it; it looked cool or whatever. But then I was over at Intrepid Spirit in front of a cohort there, and one of the guys was like, "Oh yeah, man, that thing looks like it's been through the ringer," and I knew it hadn't. And I didn't say that. I just like brushed it off because we were working on something, and I was trying to show him something in the blues or whatever. But he said that, and the way that I felt like an imposter afterwards, I had to get rid of it. So I sold everything that I had, and then I bought this guitar, which I found for steel, but it's a real 69 Strat, which is hard to come by. But anyways, I brought this up. I went to a blues jam. My buddy Dylan Goodson, who is easily the most playingest jazz bassist and probably the most playingest bass player in all of Wilmington. He's gigging constantly. Fantastic guy, lovely dude. Really, really, really helped me with big vote of confidence and helped me out playing music as recently as yesterday. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. Can't remember now. But he was like, "Hey man, you want to go? You want to go up and do? There's Blues Jam up in Sneed's Fair. I'm going up there." And we carpooled, had a great ride together with them, just talking about everything and life and whatnot. But one of the songs that I did play for them up there was "Born Under a Bad Sign." Born on a bad sign. I've been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all. Hard luck and trouble are my only friend. I've been on my own ever since I was 10. Born on a bad sign, yeah. I've been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, yeah, no, wouldn't have no luck at all. I can hardly read, I don't know how to write. My whole life has been one big fight, yeah, born on a bad sign. I've been down since I began to crawl. If it wasn't for bad luck, yeah, no, wouldn't have no luck. Wine and women, all that I crave. Big-legged woman's gonna carry me to my grave. Born on a bad sign. I've been down since I began to crawl. Wasn't for bad luck, yeah. Wasn't for real bad luck, yeah. It wasn't for bad luck, yeah, I wouldn't have no luck. So it goes, I think it goes something like that. That one's actually also on The Simpsons Sing the Blues, and Homer Simpson does a version of that, and so I did grow up listening to that too. But I attribute it to Albert King though, and I didn't play any Albert King licks, which is a sin. But I forgot to do that. So I'm sorry. I hope that was the one. Dirty.
Let's see. There it is.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're trying, man. There's one guy that there's a couple of guys. There's so many fantastic, incredibly sweet, lovely people. Thank you, man. Thanks for asking. I really appreciate it. And like, I don't take a lot of requests because I don't do a lot of popular music, you know. So, but yeah, I appreciate your reaching out, and you just happened to hit the mark. I really like that song. I listened to it when I was a kid. Sang by Homer Simpson. But I've been so lucky too. Like I've talked about military friends. I've talked about family. I've talked about veterans and nonprofits and everything like that. But I just when I mentioned Dylan Goodson, it reminded me that like the community in general, and Cameron too from the Veterans Creative Arts Program, like is just a member of community. The community around here is fantastic. They've just been so fantastic, helpful, sweet, supportive, and are also like giants in their own right. There's this one guy. He actually just recently put new frets on my guitar. His name is Dave Shepard, and he runs a company called Brickhouse Toneworks, and he builds pickups for boutique guitar makers, and he's one of the masterminds behind Mojo Tone, who I also have a good friend that just got employment with Mojo Tone, and inside of all my amps I have Mojo Tone speakers. They're out here in Burgaw, North Carolina. So is Dave Shepard with Brickhouse, and they're just fantastic, incredibly gifted, talented people inside of their own rights of building guitar cables, guitar cabinets, guitar speakers, guitar pickups. Dave put new frets on this guitar, and it's absolutely amazing. I never knew that a guitar could play this sweet, feel so good, be so rewarding to engage with, and the guy himself is just an absolute fantastic human being. Just one of the best people that I met, and also one of the most talented people that I've ever met. And being able to be in the same waters as these guys, who are also giants in their own right, as far as like being able to play and authentically play, and like when I say that I want to do right by the artists that I'm copying, or the artists that I'm paying tribute to, whose music I'm playing. I want to do right by this antique guitar that I get to play on. I want to do right by the companies that pour their lifeblood into developing the best possible speaker cones that they can make, or pickups that they can make, and are like really creative artists in their own right in making these things absolutely fantastic. And I mean, I'm overwhelmed by how much cool stuff I get to interact with. Both, I mean, obviously inside of like the fantastic opportunities that I've gotten to serve in the Marine Corps and special operations there, but then also inside of this amazing community in Wilmington, and yeah, I'm just blown away by it, man. Venue owners, fellow musicians, developers of equipment and everything else. There's this guy, I laugh. There's this guy, that pickup or that pedal that is picking up the radio frequency. A guy made that in his apartment in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
And the circuit board inside of it is in the shape of the state of Texas, and it's got like a little circuit board scorpion on it and everything. I took a picture of it, and I showed it to the camera. It's so super cool, super freaking cool, man. I love it to death. It's just the best thing. And yeah, as you can tell, like there's various stages of my complete, fascination with what it is that I do. Look at this cool thing inside it. See that?
Nice.
If you look right there, see that little scorpion we made?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, man, that's so cool. Anyways, that's one of the guitar pedals that I get to use that makes this thing sound the way that it does. But everything from that, like the local community, and also like I was saying, that I put this stuff up online, and it gets, gets the traction that it gets. I think that I got a lot of bots because I'm also targeted as like it's on our promotions. Our promotions are released by the Marine Corps, and on our promotions it says what our job is inside of the Marine Corps, and mine says 0372 Special Operations. And so like I'm immediately targeted like by whatever bots and whatnot that's trying to find out where I am, where my family is, and just be able to harass me. Not necessarily harass me, but be able to, right? And so I think that a lot of my engagement is like randomized, bot nonsense and whatnot. But there are definitely like some genuine exchanges online, and I'm really excited about that too. I just there's this one incredibly talented guitarist out in Ireland who released an album, and he sent me a signed record because I bought like one of his very first ones. The mailman destroyed it a little bit whenever they delivered it to me, but yeah, he sent it to me signed. And then when like he posts a lick of the week, and this week I just happened to my wife took the kids out to the trampoline park. That's what it was, and so I had a little bit of time, and I ran out into the garage and like, okay, what's going on today? and I open up, and I see that this guy's posted a super, like, sounds fantastic. I love the way he sounds and the way he plays the guitar. And I copy it and I throw it up online like an hour or two after it's posted, I think. And he hits me back. This is super neat. Like, it's super neat that there's, this guy asked me to play a song, that Dylan hits me up, and he's a real human being. That there's a guitarist out in Ireland that just, I think he's in Ireland. Actually, I should probably, because they get finicky about like where they're at. Maybe he's in England. I don't know. Sorry, man. He's somewhere over there. But yeah, he's still a lights out player, and it's exciting for me to feel that connection. Like you said, like having the support and feeling like there's network and everything like that. It really helps get past some of the personally imposed stupid insecurities and whatever else that are like holding me back from doing stuff. And then also this, man, like just being able to talk with you, like I appreciate it. And yeah.
I definitely appreciate your time and you coming on the show as well, man. It's when I know we talk about when we start things, but like when I started, my main goal was to start. I didn't know where I was going to end up, so, and I really do find it interesting to speak with musicians, artists, people that's passionate about their music, and then not only that is the audience love hearing y'all's music, so it's a win-win.
That's super cool. Yeah, that's dope. I really appreciate it, man. Like, yeah.
I do have a question,
I'm inside
though.
my head so much too. Yo, go ahead.
So you've worn the uniform. You've worn a lot of musical hats. What's one thing you've learned from all the experiences that you would share with your younger version of yourself?
Oh man, well, that's a great question. What would I go back and tell my younger self? I wouldn't change a thing, man. Like, don't hold back. I don't feel like I did hold back. And I don't know that I would. I think that I benefited a lot from feeling feeling the need to impress so much, and feeling the insecurities that drove me to want to prove myself and to want to invent myself. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a good question. Because I feel very much at peace with what I've done. Even knowing what I know now, I would still go back and do it.
Do the same stuff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man. Mistakes and all too. Like, oh man, I had a lot of vices and did a lot of stupid things. But man, some of those guys that I had my vices with and I met through those troubled times in life, I love them. I love them deeply, and we're still friends. And some of them have departed because of the way of the lifestyle and the way that was, and I love them still. And I hate to see that that's ultimately tore them apart, But yeah,
Good answer.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a non-answer. Like, hey, what would you do? I
Well,
wouldn't do anything.
I would say it's probably a great answer, especially if your wife's going to watch this.
That's
So,
entirely possible. No, I wouldn't. Yeah, maybe I would have talked to her sooner, but I don't think that I would. I don't think that it would have been right. I believe things happen for a reason. I believe that God's timing is greater than mine, and that His will is going to be done one way or another, regardless of whether or not I find myself subservient to it, or if I'm at peace for it or at peace against it. It's just a matter of whether or not I will be happy or I will be destroyed. You know, and so I feel uh, I think I don't know. You know, like now I can start to like see myself and see that guy. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. It's hard. That's hard. Probably, if I could say anything, it would probably be something like drink a little bit less. That's probably what it would be, because I was still able to do a lot in spite of myself. I think I might have done I think I might have done more good, but I might also have turned terrible if I hadn't cut myself down so much. And so that's the other thing about it, is I think that I I think that I might have been a terrible, even more so than I am now, a terrible narcissist, and then have had, because if there's one thing that being sloppy, drunk, and you know, just being beholden to your vices does, is it does bring you down low, time and again. And I brought myself down low time and again. And I think that with as much as I was able to do in spite of that, that had I not had the weight of these vices dragging me through the mud, that I might very well have been much more terrible and less humble. I think that might be it. Yeah. Yeah. Amen, dude. Yeah. Mistakes are the reasons why we are who we are today, and I wouldn't change a thing either. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man. Yep. Think of God bless the broken road that led me to you. That's what I think
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I mean, it's been a great show. We're hitting 2 hours, 17 minutes. Um, I really, I look forward to um, doing another podcast down the road with you, because I'd like to see where, like, from now to where you take it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel you're not the first person that's been excited about where this is going, and it started with that story night at the Navy SEAL the Honor Foundation. That story night. That's when people started to put in their vote of confidence and like, hey, this is going to go somewhere. And I'm like, well, and then things start happening, and they're not like overwhelmingly happening. It's not like rags to riches or like some bombastic story, but things are happening. I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool, man. And
yeah,
yeah,
but
you're not the first, and I'm super stoked, man. I'm really excited, and I love it, man. Like that's the bottom line, is that I love doing this, and I love having those aha moments with my brothers in arms. Of like, yeah, man, I could do this. Or just like I talked with Rob, my friend today. He's over at my house. We ate my wife's meatloaf together. It was fantastic. Had a great time. And my son kicked the rifle class out in our yard, and then he was like, "Yeah, man, I did this Guitars for Vets thing." Yeah, dude, if you want to get together and we can play, man, I'd love to show you just what I've learned and all the mistakes that if there's one place and one pursuit that I 100% could like help fast track you past wasting your time, it's definitely on how to play the guitar, and all this BS that exists out there about, oh, you have to do it this way, you're supposed to do it that way, blah blah blah. It's like, nah, dude. No, here's the easiest way that you possibly do it, and here's how you make it sound this way. It doesn't have to be hard for it to sound hard. Your fingers don't have to bleed for you to pour your heart out. And I've got a great friend who can't play guitar anymore for more than 30 minutes at a time before he has to put it down. And he plays like a madman. Fantastic. Amazing player. But he can't do it anymore because he did all kinds of stupid things that you're supposed to do, or they're like bravado. So like, yeah, one way or another, man, like this is gonna keep. I'm gonna keep playing the guitar and sharing this, and sharing with my kids. And yeah, it's gonna keep going, man. I just don't know how, but I'd love to see you again. I'd love to see you again. I'd love to touch base with you again, and just give you like the update. I'll try and be more concise.
You good, dude. Like, I mean, that's what makes up. I consider it a great podcast because, you know, you're telling your story. You know what I'm saying? It's about you.
Sure.
It's not about me.
Yeah.
And you told your story, your journey, your experiences, and what you do and what you provide. You know, for the troops, the veterans, people in general, man. A lot of people, take music and it builds them up, or it, the- they take music and it could make them have a great day, or it could make them have a bad day, But I'd like to think a good day.
It goes out of the way. Hey, can I play us out?
Yeah,
Cool.
do it, man.
I was just thinking to myself that I was playing Born Under a Bad Sign, and I was having a hard time reaching high notes. Probably because I've been sitting here just yapping your ear off for a little while. But I got this version of Angel by Hendrix. But the version that Hendrix plays is really hard to play. So this is an example of the opposite thing, where I take something and I've simplified it. Might be a sin. But he plays like some really crazy chords on the chorus, and I don't. An angel came down from heaven yesterday. Stayed just long enough for some sweet tea. My angel, she told me yesterday about the secret love between the moon and the deep blue sea. Then she spread her wings high over me. She says she's coming back. She's coming back tomorrow. Fly on, my sweet angel. Fly on through the sky. Fly on, my sweet angel. Tomorrow I'll be by your side. Sure enough, the morning came unto me. Silver wing, silhouette against the child sunrise. And my angel, she said to me, it's gonna be the time for you to rise. Yeah, then she took me by the hand. She carried me on over yonder. Fly on, my sweet. Fly on through the sky, yeah. Fly on, my sweet. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be by your side. Yeah, then she took me by the hand. Yeah, she carried me up over yonder. She spread her wings high up over me. She says she's coming back tomorrow. Fly on, my sweet. Fly on through the sky. Fly on, my sweet. Tomorrow I'll be by your side. Cool. Just wanted to make sure I could still find those high notes there.
That was awesome, dude.
At the end of the night.
That was awesome.
Cool. Hey man, thanks again for for indulging me. I appreciate you very much, man.
Not a problem, man. And I want to thank the audience for tuning in. And I know we had some technical difficulties with Facebook, but I'll make sure, try to figure out what's going on with that. Until next time, y'all thank Ort, and we'll see him later down the road, man. So thank y'all, and see y'all next time.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it, brother.
And